What's happening? What's happening? What's happening, people? Hello, happy Sunday. What's today? October 1st. Happy October. Oh, why is it so late in the year? Oh my God.
Because time
Anywho,
flies.
when you're having fun or not. Anywho, welcome to Moment with Moesghetti. I am your hostesses with the mostesses, your auntie, sister, cousin, best friend, always coming with the realness, Moesghetti herself. And as you see, I am not alone today on the show. I got my good sister, cousin, friend. I don't need all of the above here. Tasha Cherie. How do you Sheree? Tasha Sheree on the side of May today to help me get through this thing. Yeah, let's welcome her. Yeah. So today's topic is going to be Growing Up Church Part 2. So if you were here, I don't know, a couple months ago, I did Growing Up Church Part 1 and just gave a good chronicle about my experience growing up in the church. So I have Tasha here with me as we grew up in the church together. And we're gonna be talking about some stuff related to that, related to church family and such. So I'm really excited about that. It's gonna be a real free flowing, good old conversation because we sit and talk about too much for too long anyway. So might as well do it on camera. So I'm really excited about getting into the topic for today. But as you know, we always start out with the church announcement. I still haven't come up with a theme song for church announcement. I just feel like I need like church announcements, church announcements, church announcements, church announcements.
I think that was it, though.
Maybe we're gonna have to lay that down on the track so I could just put it in, programming it. Tone, can you program that into one of these buttons? He's shook his head. Yes. So we're gonna church announcement, church announcement, church announcement.
Yes, I like it. I approve.
All right. So the church announcements coming from our actual church, from the desk of the Central Church of Christ. I've been talking about it before. We have the Midwest Lectureship coming up October 18th through the 21st. It will take place in the Sheridan Hotel in Brookfield. In Brookfield, we're going to have ministers from all over the brotherhood coming on out to share words of wisdom about, and the thing. What's the theme? We've come this far by faith.
It is.
Amen. And so we're really looking forward to that. We'll be honoring our own minister, Dr. Stephen N. Thompson, on Friday night at their banquet. But Friday morning, my co-host here, Latasha, will be speaking at the women's portion segment of the lectureship. So I'm really excited about attending that. If you're interested in attending that, you can look at the Midwest Lectureship Facebook page. Yes.
No, the website.
The website.
So it's
MWL 2023. MWL2023.com for more information about the Midwest Lectureship. So we're the Central Church of Christ is the host. Well, the home base congregation this year. So we're looking forward to having people joining us and having a good time. I'm looking forward to seeing what you got to say. I got faith in you. I got faith in the Lord, and you know him.
I do too.
So, by proxy, I got faith in you that it's going to be an edifying time. And then at the end of that, on the evening of the 21st at 5 p.m. at the Central Church of Christ, we will be having our Minister Appreciation Musical. So we will be celebrating him at our congregation for his 39 years of service. That is a completely free program. So come on out, have a good time. It's going to be some singing and carrying on. And if you know about how we be singing at Central, look, we always do our good singing at our program. Not that we don't do our good singing on other people's programs, but we always do our good singing at our program. So come on out. Is your brother coming?
He is.
Yes. Steve Thompson, who abandoned us for the Sheldon Heights Church of Christ in Chicago, will be will be coming up with his people. That's the homie. I grew up churched with him too, so I can shade him if I want to. That's my brother cousin. However we define it, we gonna talk about how
We
our
will.
church relationship, family
We will.
relationships when we get to that portion of the show. But either way, we'll be having people from near and far coming through. We're going to have a really good time. I'm excited about it. That program is free. But if you're looking for a good word, the Midwest Lectureship is coming up. So feel free to check out the website for more information on that. Um, I am rushing.
Take your time. Ain't no show after you today.
Take
Take your time, Pastor.
my time. Take your time.
Right.
And for the next not so churched announcement, it's a church announcement. The next not so church announcement, this Friday and Saturday at Muse 33 will be after dark erotic poetry session. Ooh. Why am I talking about that? I'm talking about that because I'm scheduled to perform on Friday night. Friday the 6th. 6th. Friday the 6th at Muse 33. So if you look at Muse MUSC 33 MKE on Instagram, you can get more information. I'll probably be posting a flyer on my personal page after I let my mama know that I'm finna be talking filth and smut for the evening. It's a grown folks time. There will be nothing appropriate about the evening. So if you are into that,
That was your disclaimer.
that is your disclaimer. Don't come out looking for what I'm gonna be doing at church. Don't come out looking for what I be doing at the regular poetry sessions on Tuesday that I go to with them open mics. This evening will be a little bit different because I and the other poets and singers will be
sharing a word.
sharing
of another kind.
an inappropriate word. not for children, not safe for work. I'm looking forward to it. And honestly, like not that I have to justify myself to anybody because I'm gonna do it regardless of whether or not you like it. For me, in this phase of growth and liberation, it's just another piece of me tapping into another side of myself, another piece of my artistry, expanding my repertoire into an area that I'm not usually accustomed to, and kind of breaking down some of these boundaries and barriers of fear, because it's just words.
They're words.
It's just words, and
words are powerful.
Words are
So you
powerful.
can speak life with words or kill a life with words.
Mhm.
So
and you can trap yourself with the things that you do and do not say.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can liberate yourself with the things that you do and do not say. So I'm really excited about the experience to be able to just kind of step into that arena and do something that is a little bit different than what I'm accustomed to doing. So I'm really excited about it. If you're interested and you're in the Milwaukee area, like I said, Muse MUSE 33 MKE is the Instagram. It's a ticketed event and it sells out pretty fast. It is limited seating. So if you want to get in there and see it, you better get your tickets because it's small and they do be selling out. And it do be a good time. So yeah, come on out, support your girl. And the other poets, because I ain't the only one. I'm not the feature or anything, or I'm just there. I'll be there. Or maybe look, it makes you feel better. I'll be the feature, whatever.
Just be there.
Just be there. Be there or be square, which they say is not around. Right?
That's what they say.
Well, I feel like when people started saying that, it's just because they found out another way to say it. You know how sometimes they be like, oh, it's always been this. No, it hasn't. That y'all just came up with that because it fit. But anyways, be there or be square. Yeah. Anywho, so hey mom.
Hey.
Moesghetti is in the building.
Hey, Moesghetti.
Mama. My number one fan. Hold on. Claps are air horns for her. She hates air horns.
Yep.
Moesghetti's in the building. Okay.
Right. Did I just give her a new name,
Moesghetti? I'm not. She's your sister, so
right.
Anywho,
right.
That
we'll
actually
talk about that later.
Right.
Too.
Well, we're gonna talk about that now. I'm gonna take a drink of water and we're gonna
okay. Go ahead. Look what
hydration. I can't have you in the studio with me.
I know. We play too much. Serious moment.
Yes, mother. I am going to be naughty.
That's okay. I'll be there. She'll be all right.
I don't know if you thought I was going to say no, but I don't.
Right.
I'm not going to be naughty now and lie.
Right. Right. No
It'll be a
lying
good
on
time.
live.
It'll,
No lying
no
on
lying
live.
on live. I mean, if I lied, she could just rewind and see exactly what I said for the last
And then
minute
play it back to you.
and be like, "This what you said?
Yeah.
You grown." Exactly. My mama said I'm grown. I'm 35. So if my mama said I'm grown, that means I'm grown. I can do what I want to do. I should screenshot that where she said I'm grown.
Right. Let's do that.
If anybody got a problem with it, I
Let's
got
do
evidence that
that.
my mama
Let's do
said
that.
I ain't live with her. I ain't live with her. I've been paying my own rent for like a long time. So I do what I want. Anywho, she said I already heard what you said. I mean, if I didn't want you to hear me say it, I wouldn't have said it on live stream
On live.
when I know that you be in here.
And the rest of the world.
Anywho, all right. So switching gears.
Let's switch.
I don't know. I just need some. You gonna cut my buttons off? Don't be threatening me like that, Tone. I just be having fun. Anywho, so we're going to go ahead and switch gears back into our topic. Like we said today was growing up church to part 2. So I have Latasha here with me, who is somebody who I literally grew up in. Mom said y'all a serious hot mess. Absolutely.
Yep.
Tasha and I literally grew up in church together. So we are both members of the Central Church of Christ. We have both been members of the Central Church of Christ pretty much our whole lives. Her, like we said, we're celebrating our minister's 39th anniversary at the congregation. Tasha here is our minister's eldest child.
I am.
And she has been there the whole 39 years with him. I am 35 and I've been at that congregation for them 35 years.
Right.
You know, give and take the times that I have lived in and out of the city.
Mhm.
So we have both invested 30 plus years
Yeah.
of active memory in
Membership. Yeah.
you know, once we was able to go down to Bible class by ourselves, that's when our membership really started in that congregation. And so one of the things that we wanted to talk today about was the nature of church family and kind of tie it a bit with grief and spirituality. It's a little bit of a mixed bag of things for us today. Coming to the table, and I keep saying I feel like I look sad because maybe I do, maybe I don't to y'all, but I feel like I look sad because my spirit is sorrowful in the moment. That was Friday, Thursday,
It was Thursday.
September 28th. We lost one of our long-standing members of the Central Church of Christ, Michelle Smiley. She is a member of the Smiley family who, if you know anything about Central, you know the Smiley family, period. If you've ever seen our choir, you know the Smiley family. If you've ever attended any of our events, you've experienced the Smiley family. And Michelle was one of those steadfast, consistent, and active members of the family, but not just of the family because the family is huge, but of our congregation. And so on today, we sit in sorrow because she passed away on September 28th, which happened to be her birthday as well. And being that, you know, the Smileys have been at the Central congregation longer than we've been alive. The Smileys have raised children of that congregation, both in Sunday school classes and Bible study classes and outside of church in their homes. The Smiley family have been they've watched both of us.
Yeah.
Like have taken us into their homes.
Very instrumental.
At different times of life, be it babysitting us, be it, you know,
teaching us outside of church.
Right. And so it wasn't just that these are people or a family that we've interacted with while we were at the building, but these are people who have been a part of our lives. And so one of the reasons why I wanted to touch on just church as a family is that, you know, people talk about church family like these people that we go to church with, but to us, these are that's our auntie that just died.
Hmm. For us, the line becomes very thin, and there is no demarcation. It's very hard to, they're blurred lines when it comes to our church family. We're very close as a church. And so when one hurts and one feels, all of us do. But the fact that Michelle was so instrumental in our lives, it leaves a hole because one of our aunties truly is missing. We've watched her suffer, we've watched the decline. Um, because not only in our lives was she instrumental, but she also had a hand in certain things in the church, and you could actually see her influence and her inspiration when you walk into the building because of certain things that she has done. Mainly speaking of her flower creation, we called her the Flower Lady. Matter of fact, if you know her personally and you go on her Facebook page, she is Michelle Flower Lady Smiley. Um, and so for us right now, we are holding tight to each other, staying close to each other, lifting each other up, um, because we feel the effects of not church family, but family
Mm-hmm.
being separated from us by death. And so we're experiencing grief right now in the different aspects that you can experience it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, if you notice, and I'll talk to you later, Mom. I don't know if you're already gone. Mom says she's not quite ready yet because, you know, if you were paying attention to the start of the show, how I introduced Tasha here, it's my sister, my cousin, my I don't even know how to explain what you are. I called her my sister, but my mom also called her
Sis.
sister, um, because the the way that we weave our lives together. Um, as a church family, as a unit, we are people who have loved each other. If you were here for my lesson I did a long time ago, and I might bring it back when I was actually I just reposted um earlier this week the video I did about a year ago about the book All About Love and how we defined love as the nurturing of each other. We truly loved each other, not just in words, but we truly loved each other in the way that we have nurtured each other throughout these years, which is why we can really call each other family. We can really call each other sister. We can really call each other mom. We can really call each other auntie. And these they're interchangeable terms because we love each other not just in word, but in action, the
Mhm.
way that we would love our actual siblings, our actual parents, our actual aunts and uncles. Um, and that I think is one of the most beautiful things about growing up church
Mhm.
is that I've said I don't know how many times that well, I used to say that I could show up at some of these people's houses with nothing but the clothes on my back. But in all honesty, I could show up at so many of y'all houses without the clothes on my back.
Facts. Matter of fact, I've almost done that. And I'm not even saying that to be funny, but there has been times where that has almost been my reality. And I knew who I could go to, and I knew who would receive me well without judgment, with love, and with a open heart, an
Mhm,
open arm.
mhm. And it and the list wasn't even short.
Right.
The list was long.
Yeah.
Um, and we don't always take advantage of that. We don't always
True.
take advantage of that. And I think that's our own egos that come into play
Hmm.
in those moments. Um, but the beautiful thing about growing up churched is that you get access to all of these genuinely loving people, all of these kind hearts, all of these servants, all of these folk that Not they might have something to say. You might get you a lecture once you sit down at their house. Matter of fact, they they might fuss at you about not coming sooner, or getting yourself all the way in this predicament without coming to them before now. But they gonna take care of you.
Yeah.
Gary, I see you in the comments. He said, I don't know how many churches in today's world honestly hold the depths of true kinship through as many generations. There may be, but I've yet to see a family like Central. Yes,
Hey,
yes,
Gary.
Gary, yes. I'm so glad that you're here right now. He's another person who
Yeah.
has grown up church with us, and I can remember him in our childhood as well. And there is that's part of the reason why what he said, that there may be, but I've yet to see a family like Central. um
Yeah.
I honestly, I think that one of the reasons why the Lord has blessed us to I'm gonna cry through this whole episode. I believe that one of the reasons why the Lord has blessed us to be able to even keep our doors open through the ups and downs of all of the years and through the pandemic and everything is because the Spirit of the Lord is really in there.
Mm-hmm.
Genuine love is really in there. Um, Through the last like couple of years of me singing with Praise Motivated, I've come in and out of a lot of different churches. And I'm not gonna talk down on anybody else's denomination, because it honestly ain't got nothing to do with the denomination. It's got everything to do with the congregation. And I have been in places where I have felt the love, and I have been in places where I have not felt the love. And you can feel it as soon as you walk in the door. And that is one thing that people have said about Central over the years, is that you could feel the love when we come in. Like, we hug each other, we kiss each other. If I come in and I got on the same outfit as you, what we gonna do? We're going to take pictures together before we leave.
Hashtag twinning. Definitely take pictures.
Because you my sister, and that tells me that we were on one accord with one another and not on competition with one another. And you don't get that. I've been in spaces where people, they see the same outfit as on them as somebody else, and they be like, I'm gonna burn this dress when I leave.
Right. Not my coins.
Not my coins.
Mm-mm.
And some people are just like that about their fashion. But
True.
that I just, when I see that amongst us, I know it's because of the love and the camaraderie that we have with each other. And I'm proud to have grown up there.
You know what? And to prove your point about our kinship, right? Like how close we are, how much we really truly do love each other. I'm not sure about you, but I have not seen Gary in so long.
Right.
And so to see his name and know that no matter how far in distance we go, we are still connected and we still pick up where we left off. Gary is like another little brother, because that's they all grew up together. They all, and it's not even the growing up part. For me, it's the also getting in trouble part together, because you can grow up with somebody, but see, it take a true love and a true bond to be able to get in trouble, get cut up, and as a child and get in trouble.
We've been yelled at together. Quit running around here.
Our parents passed the belt. Each parent had their own belt.
Getting whooped by each other's parents.
Yes. And then get another one because the other parent had to get you in the first place. Like stuff like that. For us, it really binded us together. It really did something for us. And so no matter how far we go, because having to bury Michelle this week, there will be people coming from everywhere. And half of those people are people we actually grew up with. Mm-hmm. We're just the ones that still in the city, but people that Michelle has influenced, have spread their wings, and have moved and relocated. But that's just what it's always been.
Mm-hmm.
We take care of each other as far as we grew up together. We get in trouble, but we grow into adults. Like the whole childhood, that's a whole nother topic, right? But as adults, we remember what was instilled in us,
right?
And we hold on to that, and that makes us cherish each other as adults.
And it's just like a blood family. it don't matter how long we haven't seen you.
Right.
You still one of us.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter where you've gone. You're still one of us.
Right.
It doesn't even matter if you don't change your membership to a whole nother congregation.
Right. Right.
If you were ever one of us, if you were ever part of us, there's a piece of you that was as is always one of us and part of us. And I think that sometimes if people haven't had healthy church experiences, or if they haven't had sibling type relationships with people who they're not blood related to, they don't always understand the depth of the bond that we have. And so it can be
True.
confusing to people who are on the outside, like, well, this is that's not really your sister. Because you out on the street and you be like, this sis.
Right. And they be looking for the actual relationship.
Be like, okay,
your daddy's side or your mama's side.
daddy's side or your mama's side, or like, is this somebody who you just keep it on reserve until you,
Right.
or like, what's the real story behind y'all? No, the real story behind us is that we was sitting on the floor in Sunday school together, and we was sitting next to Sister Linda, and she split a piece of gum between me and this person, and we got yelled at together because we was talking too loud and popping gum in church. And we took trips out of town to the youth conference together, and we had to share a piece of chicken because our mama couldn't afford to get us our own chicken meal when we stayed after church for choir rehearsal.
Right.
Or we had to stay at the night at each other's houses because our mama had to go to work. Or I spent the whole week with them one time during a spring break because my mama had a real babysitter. And
right.
like it's stuff that you would do with your real cousins.
Facts.
It's stuff that you would do with your real cousins. It's benefits that you would get from your blood family. So it's hard to act like anything but family.
Yep, family. Yeah. And I'm conflicted when I think about not just Michelle, but all of because Michelle's passing is actually the second one for me. Mm-hmm. You know how they say death comes in threes. Mm-hmm. And so my father-in-law, we just buried him last week. And so Michelle's the second one for me. And so for me, I'm always conflicted when it comes to grief. Did I just put a TH?
I don't know. It sounded like you said it right the first time. You can keep rocking.
All right, let's keep rocking. But no, I'm always conflicted because you don't want your loved ones to leave you, but you also know that there's a better place to go. And so, the cliche is everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. And it's like, well, I want everybody to make it to heaven, but I don't want nobody to die. But I don't want nobody to go nowhere. And so I have to flip a switch within myself from my carnal man and what my humanity wants to what I know or what I need to understand spiritually of the whole situation. And so I think personally, and I'm not sure if you were even ready to move that far, but
go ahead.
Personally, that's where I've been in this grief journey. And for both experiences, they were sick, they were ill. So of course you don't want people to suffer. And I think sometimes we can be a little selfish.
Absolutely.
Because we want them to stay. We don't want them to suffer.
Right.
But we want them to stay. We want them to hurry up and get well. So we know them as we knew them before illness, right?
Right.
And we just don't want them to go anywhere because then that leaves a hole in our heart. And so I'm conflicted with this whole don't be selfish, let them go, release them versus they got to go because you got to go and we're not here to stay.
Right.
And so for me, it's just been going back and forth between humanity, and the divinity part of it, the spirituality part of it.
It's conflict, but it's also a big piece of comfort at the same time.
Yeah.
When I got the news about Michelle, honestly, my uncle called me, and when I heard him say it's bad news, I already knew what the bad news was. Because like you said, we watched her be sick. The last time I laid eyes on Michelle, my heart didn't know how much more time we had with her. And honestly, my heart didn't want to see her suffering.
Right.
the way that she, the way she's been moving slower, and the way that, my heart didn't want to see her decline
Right.
for like a long time. And so I already knew what the news was. There was a piece of me that felt some relief. There was a
Mhm.
big piece of me that felt um, a sigh of relief for her. Before I could even get sad, it was a say. I was just like, she's free from her body.
Mhm.
She's free from having to go to these doctor's appointments. She's free from having to put forth so much effort to move herself around. And honestly, when my papa passed, that was, I dealt with this conflict that you just spoke of, so much harsher and so much closer, because I had an opportunity to talk to him in his last days, and I got an opportunity to see how he was not happy with how he was living life. And my grandpa was a Marine. Like, he, in his 50s, was climbing trees.
Right.
Like, and he is an independent man who had a hard time not being able to do for himself.
Mhm.
Um, and he would joke about how the little nurse would have to come clean him up and stuff. But I knew that that story came from a piece of um, helplessness,
That
and
he did not like.
that he did not
He
like.
did not like it.
He accepted it because that was the really reality. Well, he was trying to accept it because it was the reality of his existence. Like, he didn't like that. Um, he's a man's man who not only did for himself, but he did for his family, and that's
Mhm.
just what a man does. And for him to be in a position where he just could not and hadn't been able to, and wasn't looking like he was going to ever be able to get back to that space, there was sorrow in that. And when he left, I knew that there was joy in not being limited by this decaying and declining
Body.
body. And so getting the news about Michelle, I went quicker to that space, partially because she and I aren't as close as my grandfather and I. Um, but partially because I'd been down this road of grief with someone who I got to watch decline, and I got intimate with the sorrow that there was of not being able to function in your body. um and so with the spiritual aspect of it all too, I also know that um as I've grieved my grandfather, I've grieved him differently than people who I knew who were not consistent in their faith.
Hmm. Mhm.
um I've lost other people who I had questions about their relationship with God. um and I've prayed very hard and heartfelt prayers for those people. Like, God, like, seriously petitioning. I know they are a good person.
Right.
Like, and I know this is not how you say it works, but if you could let them in,
Right.
that would be really nice.
Yeah. I
um
think we've all been there
because I
at
because I
some
would
point.
hate to see people who I know were good folk see eternal damnation.
Right.
But I don't have to pray that. I didn't have to pray that kind of prayer behind my grandpa. Every time I questioned about where his soul would go, would be, there was peace. And so I know that as I mourn Michelle going forward, anytime there's a inkling of a question about where her soul will go or
Mhm.
is,
Mhm.
there's peace. And I know I have that to look forward to in the grieving process, which
Yeah.
put me at a place of peace much quicker with her than with other people who I have grieved.
Yeah. And I think too, the way someone transitions definitely plays a part in how you grieve them. Um, when you see someone that's ill and you see them declining, you kind of know, not as if none of us can be taken out of here at any minute, but it's almost like when you see somebody sick, you see them declining, it puts you in gear to say your goodbyes or make peace with what their current condition is. So
Mhm.
if it's his will that he takes them, that you find peace and you start you it's almost like you start grieving them early,
Mhm.
right? Like we
Yeah.
already knew that
Mhm.
Michelle was sick, but of course we didn't know that her demise would come um
Now.
now, right? But then the way we grieve her is completely different than the way we would grieve someone who is unexpectedly snatched out of here.
Mhm.
Um, and with most tragedies, that's how it happens. There was no warning. You get no goodbye. You get no flare in the sky, no balloon coming past you, no crystal ball to tell you like it is what it is, and you
Mhm.
have to wrap your mind around that. So with the passing of some, I definitely have been at a more peaceful spirit. Um, and not to say that I don't have questions because there's certain questions that I do have, but I've learned to um, first of all keep the faith, as our pastor slash dad, Dr. Daddy,
Pastor Pop.
right, as he ministered to the family today, you keep the faith. But I definitely have experienced the different ways to grieve someone, um, based on how they were taken out of here. And one thing that I will say is that I think a lot of us have prayed those prayers that we know such and such was a good person, and they might not have done all that he, as in God, needed them to do as a person, as a Christian, as a believer, as a member. But then sometimes I snap back and be like, but Tasha, you ain't did everything either. So while they're resting where they are resting, wherever they may be resting, and hopefully it's in the bosom of Abraham,
Mhm.
but wherever they are resting, then I have to tell myself, but you are still here in the current. You are still here in the now. And whatever you don't have right in your life, get it right. Whether it's the relationship with your biological family, the relationship with your church family, your community, those who have wronged you or you have even wronged. Like death puts you in the mind state of get it right, because at the end of it all, what death does is make sure things are final.
Mhm. Ooh, girl.
And there's no coming back from final, because final is final.
Mhm.
Final means just that, it's over. And so as we mourn those who have gone before, and even in the future, those that we mourn that are to come, I've always tried to keep myself in check to say, hey, you don't have it all together either. You will have to come this way someday. So you make sure that you are right with your maker, so that when it is your time, that you are resting where you believe that you want to go. Listen, heaven and hell is real. Heaven and hell is real. And so, I would love to make it to the gates and be able to get in, right? But then we have to snap ourselves back and say, hey, there could be things that will hinder you, so you make sure you have it together. And I think that in grieving Michelle and grieving Papa and grieving everybody else who has gone on before, one of the things that I appreciate is that we still have time.
Mhm.
I still have time to say I love you, Mo. I still have time to say, hey, if I've never said I'm proud of you, and I'm saying that now, but I'm actually being for real. Like, I am totally proud of you. Not gonna cry. I'm not doing it today.
Definitely crying.
Nope, not gonna do
You
it.
see the twinkle.
But I am. I really am. For those that are watching, like, you know the milestones that you have had in your life. You know the victories. You even know the valleys. But you're still here. You are still here. So whatever you need to get right in the time that you are here, do that, because the future is not granted or not promised to anybody. That's one of the things that I always have to remind myself of. Michelle has done her job. She has fulfilled her purpose. She has done what the Lord has needed her to do, and her work here is done. You're here because you still got work to do.
Mhm.
Now you got to figure it out. What is your work to do? And take it from there.
You in my studio sounding like your daddy.
I'm sorry.
She'll be speaking Friday morning at the Midwest Lectureship. Did one right here. No, but for real though, as you were talking, I was just thinking about that too. Like it, death is a reality check. Not even I mean, about where you're going, but also about where you
Where
are.
you are. Absolutely.
Um, you spoke about making a connection with the creator, making amends with other people, but you also got to check in with yourself.
Absolutely.
You got to check in with yourself. There's there's a person who I follow on the internet. Her name is Lady Speech. She ain't got nothing to do with Christianity. But one of the duties that she has performed in her life is being a death doula. Um, right, helping people transition on, right? And
Sidebar. Remember that.
uh-huh. And one of the things that she said was, as she has transitioned people out, one of the most devastating things that has seen when people have gotten to the end of their lives is they realize that it's over.
It's over.
It is over, and they have not done what they wanted to do in life.
No resolve.
And she said, and it doesn't matter. She's like, even the people who know they didn't do what they was supposed to do, still go out with more peace than the people who um know that they held back. Because even the people who was out here doing what they wasn't supposed to do, but they was living it up.
Having a good time.
They at least can go out knowing, well, I wasn't right, but I had a whole shebang bang of a good time in the process. So I might not like where I'm getting ready to go, but I like what I was up to. Like
Right.
there's a certain, and I'm not telling y'all to go be regular,
Right.
but there is a certain piece of fulfillment for those who, for those who live their lives away with fullness
Mhm.
and according to what they truly wanted to do in life, they have transitioned on much more peacefully, much more lovingly, much more happily, because they actually lived, versus those who know that they lived their entire lives based on somebody else's standards or what society told them they should be doing, or they held back and out of fear or whatever, out of judgment or whatever, and never really stepped outside of themselves. To do what was really in their heart. They had the opportunity to live their purpose and they just didn't.
Right.
um
Right.
those people, when they know that, when they feel everything is shutting down and this is it,
Mhm.
there's an immense amount of sorrow in them. And so, it's a duality thing. You got to look at where you want to go, but you got to look at where you are
You
and
are.
what you want to do between now and when you leave. And when I talk here a lot about making different changes in your life and being the person that you want to be and growing and all of that stuff, I frequently say, make those changes today. Like,
Right.
step into the essence of the person that you want to be today. Like, evaluate yourself today. If there's a new habit that you want to form, like, figure out how it starts to fit into your life today, because tomorrow is not promised.
At all.
And if you always put it off till tomorrow, there's always a tomorrow until there ain't.
Mm. Hmm. Hmm.
There's always a tomorrow until there ain't. And so, how many tomorrows are you going to push this thing off into until you start to embody that thing or that person that you want to be, that life that you want to live? And if
Mhm.
you never get around to it, you're going to get to the end of your days when you realize there are no more tomorrows
And you know why there are no
and
more
you haven't gotten
tomorrows?
it and you haven't even started.
Because tomorrow always turns into today.
All you have is today.
Mm-hmm.
All you have is today.
Yeah.
Either you're going to do it today or you're not.
Yeah, Gary. Self evaluation is important. Absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of times we have not done the work we've needed to do on ourselves because we have not evaluated.
Mhm.
And a lot of times that's because we don't want to.
Mhm.
We don't want to because of what, one, it could be fear of what we would run into going back into the past of trying to fix ourselves now. And then it is just lack of self awareness. some people want to be oblivious to the fact. They just want to blow in the wind like tumbleweed,
Mhm.
here and there and everywhere. Um,
Evaluating yourself makes you accountable to yourself, though.
absolutely.
Because once you evaluate it and you realize what you got, what's up, then that makes you responsible for
Right.
what you
Right.
find,
Yeah.
what you like, and what you don't like. If I evaluate myself and I see I got a whole bunch of stuff that I'm doing that I don't like, now I'm responsible for it. It's not just happening unconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really responsible for me.
You are.
And,
Hmm.
you
And it
know,
takes work.
it
There's
takes
work
work.
and responsibility.
Hmm.
There's work and ownership, and there's work and accountability.
Hmm.
And if you're not willing to do the work, you're not going to assume any of those positions. Have you ever seen? Well, I was gonna say, have you ever seen a thief not be held accountable, like hold themselves accountable for just stealing a bunch of stuff? But then I kind of have, so that wouldn't make sense. But but still, like you definitely have to do a self evaluation, and it's not for anybody but you to do that evaluation.
Hmm.
You would be so surprised of what you learn about yourself. Um, Here I am, grown, right? Fully grown, because when we moved here, I was only 2.
Mm.
I'm not 2 no more.
No.
And so what I used to like as that 2-year-old, I don't like as the adult woman that I am now.
Right.
Or vice versa. What I didn't like at 2, I might like now. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like, but it took me to learn who I was, and that wasn't an easy process because my life had to be stripped of some things. I had to be stripped out of my box of comfortability in order for that process to happen. And it's ugly.
Hmm.
It's ugly. If you're not ready to do the work on where you are, hmm, but then are we ever ready to do that work too? Because we don't know what we're going to come up against. Yeah, it's work.
Girl, am I ready to do the work? Ready and willing are two total different things.
Like,
Two
that's a
total
whole
different
nother
things. Before we started talking today, I was to Tasha, and this is not even the first time I've said this to you. Me and the Holy Spirit be at it. Holy Spirit be like, this is what I want you to work on in life right now, and I be like, I don't want to.
Right.
I'm going to, but I'm just letting you know that my opinion about it
Right.
is that I don't wanna.
But you are.
I will, because I'm going to walk in
Mhm.
obedience,
Right.
because I do have an understanding that, that the things that I'm being, that the Holy Spirit and my own spirit are connecting together about in my own development is for um my own personal growth, but it's for the growth and development of the people around me, be it the people who I physically touch or the people
Right.
who I touch online or the people who I touch when I'm at work or the people who I am going to touch in the future. All of these things, all of y'all getting what you need through me is predicated on me doing the work that I need to do.
Right.
And I also know I don't wanna because it's hard.
But you have to.
But
It's called adulting.
it really is. But the reason why um I'm vocal about like not wanting to but still being willing to is because I through my growth process I'm not gonna sit here and fake the funk with my own self about what I do and do not want to do. Because if I
Right.
walk forward in something like I'm willing to do it when I know good and well that it is hard, then I will not put myself in a position to petition for the type of assistance that I'm going to need in order to get through whatever that difficult thing is. So I know I'd be like, Holy Spirit, I don't want to do it because it's hard. I'm scared of it and I don't like it. Holy Spirit will be like, okay, yeah, I see. So let me
Knew that
let me
already.
yeah, knew that. But
Knew
okay,
that.
but since you're gonna be loud about it, okay, let me send you a friend, let me send you a partner, let me send you a spiritual battle buddy, let me send you a uplifting
prayer
word, let
partner.
me send you a prayer partner, let me send you some encouragement, let me put you in an environment where this can happen. Let me put you in an environment where you ain't got no choice. Let me put you.
And that's usually what happens. You're put in an environment where you don't have no choice. It's in your face and you have to deal with it
And you
before you can move on.
right. And so you'll be when you're honest about where you are, you're more honest about the tools and the equipment that you'll need in order to get through that phase of your life. And so I'll be like, I don't want to, but also I'm willing to, I'm trying to work through, because working through my resistance and my fear are parts of the evolution as well. And if I can work on
Mhm.
working through my own resistance, and I can learn how to not be resistant, and I can learn how to be open, and I can learn how to be fearless, then the next time I got to encounter something else that I don't want to do, I'm more equipped
Right.
to walk through that door, because I've dismantled some of that mental framework. So it
And what that's doing is preparing you to walk in your purpose fearless.
mm-hmm,
So you have all of these, let's say, walls of fear, right? And you knock them down, and you may not knock them down all in the same time frame. One wall may be easier to knock than the other, right? But by the time you get to who you need to be to fully work and walk in your purpose, the fear that you may have had to do that is completely gone
we
because
bust that
you
down a
have
long time ago.
overcome everything else. You have done everything else that you needed to do, and there's nothing left but to walk in
Walk.
your purpose. Just walk. And here's the thing about walking: you never walk alone,
Mm.
ever, ever. You'll never walk alone. Which reminds me of the footprints in the sand
Mhm,
poem.
mhm.
Yeah, you'll never walk alone, and I think we have to remember that. And circling back to the original conversation and the original thought on church family, there has been so many church people, right, that has poured into me personally, that I feel a certain responsibility to either pay it forward, or when they need me, to be there, however that is, whatever that looks like. And it's not, oh, because they did this, I got to do this, and
Mhm,
have a hardened heart about it. It's a heart of gratitude.
mhm.
Because as those resources you were talking about being put in certain positions and around certain people, it seems like when I needed someone the most, God fixed it to where I sat among people who could help me.
Mhm.
And it wasn't now, it might not have been the help that I wanted at the time.
Girl, but it was the
It
help
was
you
the
needed.
help that I needed.
Mhm.
And the help that I needed, that I received, was the help that took me further
Mhm.
into where I needed to be.
Because we're not paying this forward as an exchange. It's not like a one for one tit for tat
Not at
exchange. It
all.
is a true genuine expression of,
I'm thankful.
I am grateful, so I show
Mm-hmm.
my gratitude by being present. We literally, when we were talking to the other Tasha
Right.
about the arrangements for Michelle's funeral this weekend, like she was like, I don't. She's like, you gonna be around? I'm like, absolutely, of course.
Right.
She's like, I don't even know what I need you to do yet. I might need you to read this. I might need you to do that. I might need you to literally just be on standby to stand up and do whatever. And I said,
Mhm.
anywhere that you type me in on the program
Right.
ahead of time, or pencil me in the day of, or point at me and say, get up, or just
Mm-hmm.
you sit down and I'll get up,
Right.
I can and will do that for you.
Right.
Not because you, well, yes, because you've done so much for me, but because you have loved me so much
Mm-hmm.
that I can't help but to love you
Back.
back.
Right.
And in this time, I don't know how to love you because I don't know what to do
Right.
other than be present
Be present. Be
and
available.
and be available. And that is love, that it's just is deep seated. It is born out of years of camaraderie. It
Mm-hmm.
is born out of a genuine hearts.
Yeah.
It's born out of growing up church.
Growing up church. Yeah.
Because it is about the faith. It is about serving Jesus. It is about praying to God. It is about all of the stuff that we're commanded to do when we come to worship. But it also is about the fellowship. It is also about communion. It is also
Mm-hmm.
about congregation. It's about fellowship. It is the reason. Look, I say this frequently. The first thing that God looked down and said was not good was for man to be alone. And a lot of times we put that in context of we need a partner in a relationship. It's an Adam and Eve thing. But he said it's not good for man to be alone. So he gave him a complementary partner. Um, But he said it's not good for man to be alone because we shouldn't be down here trying to work this whole life out by ourselves.
Can't.
We can't.
God, I went crazy. I'm just saying.
All by myself. Look, you can't even pick up a couch by yourself. Like
Right.
basic stuff.
Right.
And so it was never meant for us to operate in this world alone. And as it became more populated and there became more of us, we can create communities and villages around each other. Like, you know, we are groups. Yes, God can work with just us individually, but he works so much easier when he can give each of us different talents and we can pull those talents together and we can edify him and his kingdom and this world. So we were never meant to do any of this by ourselves.
And you know what? I'm so I'm glad you brought that up because as I looked around the church today in the moment, in the prayer moment that we had, and we were praying not only for the Smileys but everybody else. Um, when that prayer moment was over, I watched how the church flocked to the immediate family and asked, what did they need? You know, did they need to do anything? And then they ran to our kitchen administrator because there will be a repast. You know how we do.
Mm-hmm. Gotta have some chicken.
So, right, cake and punch. Oh,
Punch.
Sorry. Okay, Michelle made the punch, y'all.
Good punch.
Like Michelle was making a punch like in the early 80s. From when I say Michelle made the punch,
She made the punch.
we were sitting at the table trying to remember
the
how
ingredients
she made
to the church punch.
Church punch. Anywho, I watched the church.
And you know it was good because you see how we both just acted behind the punch.
Wait, did we just have a moment of silence for the punch?
We did.
A moment of silence for the punch. I can't.
We losing our recipes,
This
y'all.
is what we do in our grief. This is what we do. Like we literally get each other through because life can be tough. Life can be rough, and you can't do it alone. Hence her point. Like being alone is just not good, especially in times like this. But I watched the church just flock and glean, and in the way we're set up, like we wouldn't let them go. And they're a family of service, like they serve everybody. And so the church was just like, no, we can't let y'all serve your own family in your own grieving process. Like that's bananas.
Even though we're gonna have to kick them out the kitchen anyway.
We are. And I already know the first two that we're gonna have to move out the kitchen, but that's okay because that's what gets them through. It's their coping mechanism. That's what they do.
We're gonna try to tell them to sit down. At a certain point, we're gonna stop.
Right. And just be like, okay.
All right.
But I watched how we as a church just pretty much put our arms around them. And they were just there. I don't know how many shoulders they laid on, but they laid on several shoulders and shook a whole lot of hands and had a whole lot of, like, it was just a moment to say, hey, we are not just a church, but we are family and we love you and we are here for you.
And we're going to take you through this.
And we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this because we've gotten through all the others in the past and we will get through the others to come. And that's life, huh?
That's life.
Sometimes, you know, the punch. I can't believe we just had a punch a moment of silence. Michelle,
it was genuine. It was genuine, bro. Like only somebody you grew up with. I told you we family for real because only somebody you family with you sit here and have a moment like that. You know, I know that in this era of life, people are deconstructing the church and deconstructing faith and honestly, I am one of those who I'm an encourager of that because I feel like that you can't believe in something that you don't believe in. And if you have too many questions in your heart about something, then there's going to be holes in your belief. And if you need to dive deep in your soul and in the word and in the structures, um, to see where your faith is, then I think that you should do that in order to shore it up
Mm-hmm.
so that you actually believe in what you say that you believe in. Because I don't think that there's any utility in somebody faking a funk about their belief, about their faith, throughout their life. When I say that, um, because through my deconstructing of my faith or of religion as a whole, of the church, I have found um, strength.
Mm-hmm.
I've found strength in the way that in my belief, I've found strength in my church family. I've found um, genuine, I've found genuine hearts and souls who just really want to do right by and in this world. Um, and that has always been a part of my experience growing up at the Central Church of Christ. Um, and I'm, and that is part of the reason why I have such loyalty to it,
Hmm.
to my faith, but also to my congregation. Um, because I see that at the end of the day, them folks really trying to be good people. Them folks really trying to love.
Mm-hmm.
Them folks really trying to
We're just trying.
help the community and really trying to get to heaven.
We're just trying.
We just trying. um, and I do still see, beauty in that.
Mm-hmm.
I do still see utility in that. I see where we have gone right, and I have seen where we have gone wrong.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And I'm not to say that we are flawless.
Right.
And I don't know if I'll ever 100% agree with the structure of any structure that I've ever been a part of or will ever be a part of,
Mm-hmm.
unless I create that mug myself. And the only reason why I agree with it is because I made it. And even then, I might a couple years down the line
Right.
be like,
find a hole. Right.
I don't know if I should be doing this like that.
Right. Try to retweak it because you don't find a hole.
Hey, ooh, I run my household and I still be looking like,
Mhm.
I just rearranged my kitchen last week.
Right. Right.
Like, and that's my house. But where there is God, there is goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Where there is God, there is goodness. And where there is love, there's God.
Hmm. I'm just thinking, like, sometimes I just have to be like, yeah, this is reality, because I'm still in those moments where things seem so surreal.
It wasn't real to me until I got to church today. And
Yeah.
it's still not.
And so, I'm in that moment where I'm grateful for where I am, because I, in my personal life, have come a very, very long way. Like, and one of the things that Michelle struggled with was she needed to get on the heart transplant list.
Mm.
In my early 20s, we were fighting to not get on the heart transplant list because that's how bad my heart is.
Mm.
And so medically, come a long way, because I'm doing all right now. And that's only because God has sustained me. Nothing that I have done there's a couple of things I did do or not do, stop doing. But for the most part, it's because God has sustained me. And then because my people have poured into me to make sure that I was okay. And I think even when I played like I wasn't, somebody always saw through the holes. As we're talking holes. Yeah, you one of them. So, but I needed that though. because I needed to know that I wasn't alone.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people need to know that they're not alone.
And I think one of the ways that you and I even bonded, like in our adulthood, was us being in the media room and you just being like, I'm just not okay today. And me just giving you space to just not be okay.
Yeah, because that was my reality at the moment. That was what my that's what it was.
And as there was times where she was like, "Look, I need you to be at the CD selling table because I cannot. I don't feel good. I don't feel like feeling good. I don't feel like
I don't feel
talking.
like feeling
I don't
good.
feel like talking to people. I don't feel like
Right.
being. I can't be nice right now because everything hurts.
Right, right,
And me just understanding that you're not yelling at me, you hurt,
right. It was just
and you're
not
in pain. And taking that and being like, all right, well, then sit out somewhere and stay in here so people can't come hug you because everything hurts.
right.
And I'll go smile at them today for the next 30 minutes.
But what I appreciated was the patience that I received from everybody, and that's what I try to extend to everybody else. And this goes outside of the realm of grief. This is just life, period, and dealing with humans, Homo sapiens. Like patience is what I needed. Patience is what I received. Did it make everything better? Not always. Not always. But did God know what he was doing in that moment? Definitely. Because where I needed and wanted things at that moment, I had to wait on it. Why? Because my faith needed to get stronger. And I had to faith it out.
Mm-hmm.
I had to faith it out.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I'm trying to stand on right now in life, outside of grief, just in life. Everything you got going on, faith it out. God got you.
Mm-hmm.
And he got you like nobody else can.
Mm-hmm.
I love my people. I love who I love. But if every last one of them were to not receive me, not love me, not do for me, not pour into me, just stop, there's still somebody who got my bag and will have my bag better all by himself than 15 of my loved ones could ever have joined together. Now, of course, I love those 15 loved ones, and you want them to do because we're family and it's love and
I mean, but he gave us those 15 loved ones.
He did, but just in the rare event that somebody wants to act up and take the other 14 with them and nobody be in my side, he got me. I'm just saying, revolt. I'm just saying, my God got me. I don't know about you, but my God got me.
For real.
So that's where I find my comfort. That's where I find my resolve. And although life has a way of life
Mm-hmm.
and being an adult has a way of adulting,
Lord.
I know someone who will get me through it because my faith lies in him and I'm going to faith it out.
Faith it out. You know what? I think on that, we should get ready to go ahead and take it out.
You think?
I think so. We've been here for over an hour, and it's been
Really?
yeah, girl. I told you we get. I can just do that. I told you we had. I told you that we was gonna be able to
But our
come by.
personal talks be okay.
Right, we probably still ain't done talking. We probably gonna talk some more and maybe cry a little
We're
bit.
gonna have to make sure
once we
God
get
is
off.
after that because we talk.
They might want to hear some of that too.
They
but
might.
You might have to start your podcast so we can do that too. Or you know what? Maybe we can come back. We because we did talk about doing Church Girl Chronicles.
We did. Ooh, y'all want to hear about that?
That could be good.
Church Girl Chronicles, boy.
Cause this faith walk, this look, what you're seeing in front of you right now are people who are in a really a spiritual space. We still got our church clothes on. we was eating sweet potatoes. So what you're seeing right now is are people who are sitting in a good space in their faith, who are sitting in a sound space in their walk.
It wasn't always that way.
And it ain't even always that. It might not always be that way to the rest of the day.
And that's real talk. Because
lives, and we are human beings who are just trying to walk our walk, and we stand up straight and we fall down just as long as we keep getting up, and as long as we not out here just obtusely contradictory. The Lord be like, Mo, that's far enough. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're seeing, is us highlighting our faith walk, um but there's life behind. There's a whole life behind um
It
us
is.
growing up church, being a preacher's daughter, being a I don't know, my whole family working in the church
Ministry,
in
right.
ministry.
Your
So
grandfather is in the memorandum
mhm.
in the communique.
They named our leadership lounge after my granddaddy. So,
Yeah,
my name is literally on the building.
it is. It
um,
is.
and so there's a lot. So this won't be the last time that we get on the mic
Hmm.
together, whether it be my show or we do something else. Because I feel like there's more to be told. Because I feel like there's also there's testimony in the filth as well.
Testimony in the field. I
Um,
love it.
but
Testimony in the field.
so we'll pray it out, and then you can plug your book, and then we can go. All right.
There's grace in the garbage.
There is grace.
There's grace in the
I told you
garbage.
she's a PK. That's her daddy coming out of there right there. It's grace in the garbage. Amen.
Wait, let's write that down though, because I might forget that. I might need to write that book. We'll see.
Grace
Yeah, in the garbage.
in
Mm.
la garbage. Endurance in la basura. Okay, let's pray it out, and then we'll plug our stuff, and then we'll go. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this time. We thank you for this opportunity to speak with one another. We thank you for this family, and we thank you for just life, and we thank you for fellowship, and we thank you for love. And we just ask that you be with us, be with our loved ones. Wrap your arms around us. Wrap your arms around the Smiley family as they walk through this time of grief and this time of strain. Give them comfort, give them peace, give them level heads, give them peace amongst each other as they deal with this week and all of the days and times to come. I ask a special blessing over the those who are under the sound of our voice. May they be edified by what we had to say. May they be encouraged along their walk, and be with us as we go throughout this day. That we be well, that we be encouraged, that we be edified, that we be strengthened, and that we have the hearts to be the servants that we need to be for those who are around us, and that you endow us with the wisdom and the strength and the endurance to do your work. In Jesus' name, thank God. Amen.
Amen.
All right. So if you appreciate what I got going on over here, like, comment, share Moment with Moesghetti with your peoples. If you want to give me some financial appreciation for what I got going on here, you can always hit the Cash App, #, Moesghetti. It's spelled just like where it's at, right over there. It's spelled just like that. Before we go out, Tasha, she is an author. On top of her being speaking at the lectureship coming up, she got some book. Tell the people about your books.
I do. So there's 3 books on Amazon right now. One is called My Mother's Keeper, and that's a book written by mothers and daughters. That's my first book. What I did was I participated in a collaboration, and as women were writing with their daughters, I wrote to just represent my mom, who is now gone on to glory and has been there for 15 years, which is sometimes hard to believe. But I wrote about her influence and her inspiration in my life as an adult woman, remembering everything that she taught me as a child. And then the second book is called Beneath the Surface, The Face Behind the Mask. And that book is simply about faking the funk. And so a lot of times, and this is pre-COVID, a lot of times we wear a mask to try to hide what we're feeling, what we're going through, and even what we're doing. I was doing that. And what happened is it backfired. And, you mentioned that I am a minister's daughter. And so everybody, most of the people, some of the people think that I got it all together. Couldn't be further from the truth. Going to the 4 walls of my residence was like going into the pits of hell sometimes. And that was the hell that I created. And so I had to remember earlier, I talked about getting stripped of some things, getting stripped out of that box of comfortability. In that moment, that was happening, and so I no longer recognized my own reflection or who I was, and I had to get it back. I had to get my life back and get back to Jesus. Although I was going to church, don't mean I was really there.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was elsewhere, and so that book is just a testimonial about what I went through and how God definitely changed my life. And then the last one is, and your God shall be my God. Which is just a book of poems and prayers written by, again, a different set, but another set of mothers and daughters who wrote poems to their daughters. And I actually had a good hand in this book, just writing. And so those you can catch if you type in my name on Amazon, Latasha S as in Sam Thompson. You should see all three of those books. If not, my Facebook handle is Latasha Sheree. I'm friends with Mo, so you can find me on her friends list if you can't find it doing a basic search. But that's what I have going on. And then so I hope to see you or hear from you that Friday that I speak at the Midwest Lectureship with the ladies. We're actually talking about faith. So faithing it out. I think I just came up with my title.
There you go.
Yeah.
Faithing it out.
So thank y'all. I appreciate y'all, and thanks for having me. This was
A lot of fun. I appreciate you coming in with me today
Thanks.
because I was struggling. I was struggling.
Yeah.
And I appreciate my sister, my people.
I got
I told you
you.
my family that we show up for each other, and
We
I
do.
really appreciate you coming in. And we had a really good conversation today. So, with that being said, I thank you for spending a moment with me. I thank you all for spending a moment with me, and I will see you next time. Take me out, Tom.